Hello folks and welcome to the UK car news for January 2023. Hope you've all had a good start to the year. Give this one a thumbs up and we'll crack straight on with the news. It's been confirmed that the BYD Atto 3 will shortly start to go on sale in the UK. This front-wheel drive crossover should provide a bit of competition to some of the more established brands over here. The car's set to have a 261-mile range and a 0 to 62 time of 7.3 seconds. And what do we think of this one, folks? Do we like the looks of it or not? It's certainly quite an interesting interior, and I look forward to getting my hands on one of these at some point, I hope, if they're nice. Very sad news as 𝗵𝗫, the prospective EV battery maker, has filed for administration and most of its 300 staff have been made redundant with immediate effect. Really sad news for British manufacturing and something that really could have helped us in the EV race for years to come. If the UK itself was able to produce more batteries for electric vehicles, it would certainly attract more manufacturers to come here to build their cars. The fact that they have to import the batteries from somewhere else is seen as a big negative for producing battery electric vehicles in the UK. Now, there have been quite a few sort of rumblings around that there were bids to keep this thing alive, and the management decided they weren't viable and didn't push ahead and instead turn to the administrators. So interesting if more comes out on that front, and if it does, I'll of course let you know. Those stories were from AutoCar. We're going to move to AutoExpress in a minute, but for the time being we're on my website, can you believe? Look at this, notaguru.co.uk. Tesla slashes UK prices of Model 3 and Model Y. I'm not going to labour on this point because I made a video about it. The link to it is up there, but essentially Tesla knocked up to £9,000 off their Model 3 and Model Y this week. I've been chatting to 𝙗𝗵𝐻 this week and they've said the volume of inquiries on Model 3s and Model Ys has gone bananas, particularly on the Model Y. And the prices really are in a bit of state of flux at the moment. This could have a much wider impact on the used car market in general, and certainly on the new and used EV car market. So very interesting development that might affect some people that think, well, I'm not buying an EV, what's it going to affect me? It could. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. There'll be more news on this to follow up in weeks to come, I'm sure. UK petrol prices dropped below £1.50 a litre as the gap between petrol and diesel prices widens. So the average price of petrol is now £1.49 a litre, but diesel's still over £1.73 a litre. And that gap only seems to be getting bigger almost by the week. Obviously, the popularity of new diesel cars has dropped massively. Fewer people are buying them used now as well because of fears about what the government are going to do next to beat people with a stick. This is sad news. There are lots of perfectly good serviceable diesel cars still on the road, and scrapping them to replace them with something else, is that environmentally friendly? I don't think so. There's a wider argument there, obviously, but it'd be interesting to see how this develops. I can only really see that gap becoming even wider in the next few months and indeed few years. The cost of electric car rapid charging has risen by 58% in the last 8 months. This is bananas. The average cost of rapid charging is now over 70p per kilowatt hour, and that's up from 44.5p in May 2022. I mean, that's massive. The RAC are now saying that for a typical family EV, it's going to cost you 36 quid to charge it from 0 to 80%, which is going to give you around about 188 miles of range. Obviously, you can still make a significant saving on that if you're charging from home, and particularly if you're charging using energy you've stored from solar panels, or you're lucky enough to have that kind of infrastructure at home. But for those stuck using public chargers, and certainly on those occasional long runs where you need to use a public charger, it's going to hit you in the wallet much harder than it would have done just back in May of last year. Now, in the UK at the moment, the government imposes full VAT at 20% on electricity on public chargers. Now, in the UK at the moment, when you charge using a rapid charger, a public charger, VAT is charged at 20%. On your electricity at home, you only pay 5%. So the RAC and one or two other organisations are calling for the government to reduce the public charging VAT rate from 20 to 5% to match what's available to people in their homes. The CEO of VW has said that the Golf name will stay alive even after they stop making internal combustion engine Golfs. If they make it look anything like the ID.3, I'm going to gouge out my eyes with a spoon, because for me the Golf is absolutely dying out for a sort of retro modern EV replacement. So when the time comes, I hope they do it properly. VW styling has been a little bit samey for quite a long time and a little bit bland in some areas, so I really hope they use the Golf, which is an iconic car, particularly when you think about the Mark 1 and the Mark 2 Golf. They're really iconic designs, so I hope they choose something befitting of that name. BMW are to stop supplying UK police forces with vehicles. This follows numerous issues with BMW police cars with the N57 engine in them, including one fatality, that of PC Nicholas Dumfries from Cumbria Police Force. Basically, there have been multiple incidents where cars had caught fire, and it seems to have been due to an engine lubrication issue, and it seems like it's purely due to the way that police cars are used, often sitting at idle for long periods of time and then immediately going into a high-speed pursuit. So BMW says that the N57 is perfectly safe for private users in normal everyday use, but with that very specific use case that the police have, there have been a number of issues. Now, BMW, it seems, according to an inquest, gave advice to police forces to change the oil that they use in the vehicles and indeed to change the service intervals. And there seems to be some suggestion that the police forces just said, no, you supplied the cars, we're going to keep them to our standard sort of service plans. BMW have confirmed that there have been no reported cases of this happening in anything other than police cars. What would you like to see UK police using in future? Let me know in the comments. The London 𝗼𝙁𝙁 expansion should be reconsidered, says Rishi Sunak to Sadiq Khan, the Lord Mayor of London. If you're not aware, the 𝗼𝙁𝙁 is £12.50 a day for any pre-Euro 4 petrol cars and any pre-Euro 6 diesel cars. The current 𝗼𝙁𝙁 zone is the area within the North and South Circular roads, but from late August of 2023 the plan is for it to basically be anything within the M25. The 𝗼𝙁𝙁 charge applies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so if you're living in one of those newly affected areas, it could be incredibly expensive for you to keep your old car that's perfectly good and serviceable. It means that that car's probably going to be worth not very much, and you're going to have to get rid of it and replace it with something else. Now, of course, those people with the pre-Euro 4 cars and pre-Euro 6 cars, probably those that can't afford to change in the first place, and it could lead to all kinds of issues going forward. So watch this space to see how this one develops. Northampton police are to introduce unmarked speed camera vans. Contrary to popular belief, police camera operators can be disguised. They don't have to show themselves. They don't have to be in the line of vision at all. They could be hiding up. They could be camouflaged. It's all fine. Anywhere they spot you, they can give you a ticket. They can also give you a ticket from either side of the road, so don't think you have to be driving towards them to get a speeding fine. Now, these unmarked vans will be put into place in Northamptonshire to increase profits generated, to increase road safety, and obviously if that works well, you can expect them to be rolled out across the rest of the country fairly sharpishly. The new Jeep Avengers gone on sale for £36,500. I really like the look of this thing. I think it's a good looking car. There's also going to be a 4x4 version coming in 2024. This one is a full EV, but there'll be a petrol powered version coming for about 30 grand later on in the year. The Department of Transport has launched a consultation into moving the first MOT requirement for a new car from 3 years old to 4 years old. They say this is in line with advances in car technology. The AA are dead against this, saying, with 1 in 10 cars failing their first MOT, we strongly discourage the government from extending a car's first MOT to the 4th anniversary due to safety concerns. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The motoring world was rocked on the 2nd of January when we woke to the news that Ken Block had tragically lost his life in a snowmobile accident whilst on holiday with his family. If you're not aware of Ken Block, then I strongly suggest you go and watch his Gymkhana and Climbkhana videos. They're all over YouTube, just absolutely phenomenal, and he really took the way that car videos are filmed and sort of viral content is produced to a whole different level. Absolutely amazing videos if you haven't seen them. What not so many people know is that Ken was actually also the founder of DC Shoes and a bit of a marketing genius. Also the man obviously behind the Hoonigan brand, as well as being a professional rally driver. Fascinating character. Seemed like a really nice, genuine chap. People that have met him have nothing but good things to say about him, and I really feel it's not that usual thing that people come out and say how nice someone was just because they've died. I think the guy was genuinely quite a good cat, and certainly a bit of a visionary and a real hero of mine. It really is a great loss, and when you look at someone like Ken Block and everything he accomplished in his life, you wonder if we'll ever really see the likes of him again. Folks, you'll have noticed the shameless plug for my website earlier in this broadcast. Please head over to the support page. We've now got easy links for my main supporters here. We've got 𝙊𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, 𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, Bumblebee. We've got visit our Amazon store. That takes you through to my Amazon store with products that I've picked that I particularly use, including all my camera equipment, etc. Anything else you buy on Amazon using that link helps. It doesn't cost you anymore, but it helps support the channel. And there's also here you can get some merch and also buy me a coffee. For those of you that regularly buy me a coffee, the monthly coffee members, thank you very, very much. I am thinking of trying to arrange some kind of event for this year. I don't know what it might be, maybe a meal or something. And it won't be a profit-making exercise for me. It'll just be a chance for some people to get together and have a bit of social time. I will be limiting the numbers on that, and I'll let you know more as and when I come up with a proper idea, but I'll be giving first refusal to those monthly coffee members by way of thanks. As always, please like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and please follow me on some other form of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It really, really does help. Thanks ever so much, guys. See you next time.